However, I want to go deeper and crazier with this Black Goose stuff into the realm of the unbelievable. War. War never changes. The Falklands War was a 10-week war between Argentina and the United Kingdom over two British dependent territories in the South Atlantic, the Falklands Islands, and its territorial dependency, the South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. The conflict lasted 74 days and ended with the Argentine surrender on 14th of June 1982, returning the islands to British control. Some say that during this war, the British found some interesting alien material that they brought back with them to study. UFO stories come out on the internet from soldiers who supposedly fought at Falklands. For example, former soldier Jeff Pearson spoke of seeing a bright, intense light hovering over the waters at the furthest point of East Falkland while on an R&R break. Another soldier spoke 24 years after the incident in 2006 about an oval spacecraft with lights that zipped across the sky at great speed. But one man in particular, who goes by the name of John, tells of specific black goo containers that they were sent to investigate and extract from the Thule Island.
So we went inside to have a look, and what we saw when we got in there was quite amazing, because it was quite beautiful, because it wasn't just ice, it was blue ice. It was a light blue ice. And the floor, the ground, had been deliberately ridged to key it so that if you went in there, you didn't fall over straight away and break your neck. And as we went further inside, we realised that there were containers inside the cavern. They were on a slightly receding slope going back into the distance. It was cold, of course it was cold, but they seemed to have some kind of thermostatic control system in there as well. You know, it was really so cold that you were literally, your chest was hurting as you were breathing. So I said, why don't we all just pop outside a minute and have a cigarette? And while we were outside, it was only a few meters and we were outside in the open again. The difference in the temperature was incredible. So we had a break, we had a blow, and then we went back inside again. As we got further back in, about 4 meters, 5 meters in, it became obvious there was containers inside, and they were blue. And they were a light blue, almost the same kind of blue that the ice was inside the cave. I don't know if it was an attempt to camouflage them or what, it just seemed very odd. But what was even more odd was the fact that they were not made of metal, they were not made of ice. The only way I can explain what they were made of, they were made of a kind of thick plastic that I'd never seen before and have not seen since. There was a huge amount of them in there. I remember there was maybe 35, 40, maybe more in there. But the thing that stands out is how difficult it was to have a look further back to see how many more there actually were, because they were connected. And they were connected not by pipes or anything like that, but the containers themselves had like a puzzle, how a puzzle would join together, but not that simple. It was very odd and very tricky, because when we got back outside and I reported back to Antrim and said what we'd found there, I was told, yeah, that's okay, we were expecting that. Now stay there and we're going to send some more equipment round. When these boats came round to the bay that we were in, there was another person there who was a Royal Engineer who said to me, because he was higher than me in rank, he was a captain if I remember rightly, he said to me, you can help, but I don't want you interfering with this, as I know you're ex-Royal Engineers. Me and my squad of men, we helped drag these large containers out of this cavern, this huge cave, and they were put on special pallets. These pallets were moved with small half tracks. They were like small tractors, but they had half tracks on the back. And they were moved to the water's edge, and then using a pulley system, they swung them onto this frigate, and then they were moved to the big cargo ship. 2 at a time. They were checked for radioactivity. I've got no idea what the readings were. I was pushed out of the way quite a bit, actually, at this bit. I had no idea about what was inside them. But as I'm standing there, as I was stood there watching with my men and we were talking, we thought, I don't know what it is. It must be oil or something. Because you naturally assumed oil refinery, oil. But why would it be in such complex containers underground like this? It didn't really make a lot of sense. Somebody who I was there with, who's now dead, claimed that he managed to look in and see what was inside, and he said it was oil. But he also said the odd thing about it was when he lifted the lid, I don't know how he managed to lift the lid because I couldn't even see where a lid was. He claimed that the oil seemed attracted by him looking and actually began to change its position within the container and started to move towards him. See, I'm not really somebody who is into science, what they call science fiction, or into conspiracy theories or anything like that. But I've had to face the fact recently, in the last few years, that things have happened to me and others that I know that don't make sense. You cannot just write things off just like that. What happened was there was lots of unexplained, at least 28, I believe, unexplained deaths, and they all seem to be linked to Marconi GEC in some way or another. People were found not just dead because they committed suicide, but it was the way they died. There was people who had self-decapitated and stuff like that. It was really very odd. I believe that the UK government then, the people in the know then, knew about this stuff and wanted that. They didn't really care about the Falkland Islands.
Computer News, a highly regarded industry weekly, analyzed a string of cases dating back to March 1982. Computer News' feeling is that it's certainly more than a coincidence, said Jane Lawrence, the magazine's editor, but we have no conclusive evidence. The government has admitted the spate of cases is odd, but has insisted the frequency of the deaths is a coincidence and rejected calls for an inquiry. It is possible to believe that the official reluctance to give information on these deaths is instinctive rather than conspiratorial, the magazine said. It is equally possible to believe that these cases are the tip of an iceberg. Computer News said several of the scientists were working on sensitive defense projects, particularly in fields relating to signal processing, which is critical to detecting, identifying, and tracking targets. Computer News said speculation the scientists committed suicide because of stress cannot be ruled out, although many relatives felt the scientists had been in good spirits. Could these people have worked on a Black Goo project with a ton of NDAs? Did they try to communicate with it, to control it? I don't know. These are definitely the types of people that you would use for such research. Signal processing, digital communications, etc. So did their project end up in a catastrophic failure with the substance escaping and ending up into the water supply? Is it able to replicate? Is it literally inside our bodies waiting for the right frequency signal to take over us completely?
They're telling you the agenda, the transhumanism, the Satan, the seducer, as always. That's the whole key with the mark of the beast. Because of translations wrong, a lot of people think that it will be forced. It will not be. He is allowed to seduce, make you fall with what you want, something pleasurable. That's how you fall. You're going to want the mark of the beast. And look where technology is right now. People are lining up for just basic iPhones. So when it gets so advanced, the things that are coming so hard and heavy, the neural lace by Elon Musk, the things that we'll be able to do, the smart contact lenses that are coming out. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I'm not against technology. I'm against how far mankind and evil mankind is going to take technology in the future, which is the mark of the beast. And there is a section on my website that speaks to how to count the mark of the beast. And that's the key. The mark of the beast is not easily defined. It has to be counted or calculated per scripture. Every scripture pertaining to the mark of the beast, it says it has to be calculated or counted. It is not out in the open. So that means Satan's not going to walk up to you with a 666 t-shirt on, horns on his head, pitchfork and red, everything that you've been taught the enemy looks like. No, it's going to be very seductive, very slick, very sneaky, and this is where humanity is being guided.